Welcome back, everybody. So this is going to be the watch list for Monday, December 22nd, the week of Christmas. So on Monday, we have nothing scheduled from an economic news perspective. Tuesday, we do have some, fairly important relative information coming in. One, GDP, the delayed report, right? Industrial production, as well as consumer confidence. So these are going to be some numbers you're definitely going to want to pay attention to on Tuesday. Wednesday, Christmas Eve, is a shortened trading day, so the market will be closing early, but we do have initial jobless claims coming out before the bell rings. Then Thursday, market's closed for Christmas. Day after, the market will resume normal business hours. Now, what I can tell you, and if you looked at volume on Friday, there was literally no volume in the market. So on a 1 minute time frame, where QQQ is normally trading 100,000 shares, 200, 300, 400,000 shares in a minute, the market was trading about 20,000 shares or 30,000 shares. And when you have no volume, you have no price consistency to move the market higher or lower. So what happens is you literally get chopped up if you're trading options. Okay, so this is where most option traders just say, last 2 weeks of the year, I'm just taking time off. So I'll be around on Monday, Tuesday. I am definitely not trading Wednesday. Markets close Thursday, and I'm definitely not trading on Friday. Again, this is a time of the year where you just reset, go back, review your data, review your analytics, and psychologically get set up for 2026. If you haven't accomplished what you wanted to accomplish thus far, you're not going to do it in the last 2 weeks of the year, okay? And if you try to accomplish it, typically what happens is you end up worse off going into a new year psychologically than being well rested, open frame of mind, and hitting the ground running. So Monday, Tuesday, I think will be average trading days at best. Then obviously Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just take the time off and reset. So let's take a look at some of the individual names. So SPY, you can see here that we are back within our channel at 679 to 680. Very narrow market range. You can see back here, okay, this was back at the beginning of December, a couple weeks ago, where they did not want to break this level. And then again, we hold the level, hold the level, hold the level. Okay, then we're rejecting this 680. So we got to get above 680.85 with some strength to move higher. If not, potentially puts below 679.55. Now, mind you, look at how they wick this down and then right back up. Wick it down, up, wick it down, up, wick it down, up. Okay, so this is liquidity grabs, right, to move the market higher. So if you're going to go in puts, you really need to see some strong momentum to the downside. Let's take a look at QQQ. Same exact thing, right? We're just literally chopping here back within a range, within a channel. We really got to get above 618 to go to 620. Above 620, then pretty much open road all the way to 626. So this could be a monumental move into the end of the year. We'll have to see. Or do they just consolidate and chop around and eat up premiums? Let's take a look at some of the individual names. I'm going to go to Apple. Big candle close here on Friday. A little bit of an anomaly, right? But this thing really wasn't doing anything on Friday. Again, very low volume, chopping around. But we need to hold above 274.14 in order to go higher. And then again, I had an interim pivot level. So I'm going to move this up one. And then you'll see if we were to drag it left, see how this support here, well, let me get that better. Support here turns to resistance here. So you know that this is kind of a line in the sand that we really need to break above. So there's your levels for Apple. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon has been the underperformer in the tech sector all year long. So when you're looking at overall percentage gains, this one has been at the bottom of the barrel. Now we'll see if they do pick up some steam to move forward, but I do like calls down here at this 225. And then if we push back up here to 228, possibly looking for some puts. Google grabbed some momentum at the end of the week. Obviously here, we were on a downtrend all the way through Wednesday and then came back to life Thursday as some of the AI trade picked up steam with some earnings estimates. and we had a really big candle close on Friday. So you can see this, right? This is what we would consider a bull flag, where we are flagging to the downside, and then you get the volume breakout on this massive volume candle right at the market close. So let's see how this one responds. But again, we are right back up here to this pivot high on Tuesday of last week. So keep this 308.02 in check here. They got to really get above it and really above 309 to go back up into the 319. So Tesla hit an all-time high last week and then sold back off right back to our level of 466. They've recaptured it. We are now oscillating back and forth here. I do like calls above this 481. Don't necessarily like puts per se, but we are in an overall uptrend, right? So we really want to see, will they push this up over 500 going into year-end close? Meta has been actually weaker than most, so it was picking up some good momentum. Again, it picked up steam on the overall AI trade, and then they really sold off all of Friday's gains right on the close. But we are right back to the 657 level. If we hold this, I like calls. We fall below it, I like puts, but do note that we are still right on an uptrend, right? So see if they will go ahead and maintain this level. Let's see if I can get a better trajectory on this one. Let's use this. Yeah, there we go, right? I mean, we're pretty much going to come right down to this price level. So watch this for a bounce to go higher. Really need to break below the white line, but watch this 200 SMA, which could act as support. So I'm going to leave that on there, and we'll watch kind of how this plays out. Let me check one more. I want to just see what this more solid candle looks like here. Give myself a little bit of extra leeway on this one, and then I'm going to watch it with another trend line here to see how this plays out. And so what I'm not a fan of necessarily is some of the volatility, but the volatility is being brought on by low volume. And that's the problem. When you have low volume, you're not seeing follow through one direction or the other. NVIDIA, again, great push up with all of the AI stocks on Friday and then just consolidating. We got to get above 181. We've been hovering down here in the 170s. We're still stuck in this range, right? 171 to 181. It's a $10 price movement, and that's not much on a $180 stock. So we really want to get above 181 to push back up into some new highs. AMD following suit, exactly same thing, right? AI trade on Friday. Yeah, overall, the prior days in the week, it was kind of left for, okay, is this thing a bubble? Are we going to pop? Is there more room to the downside? And then, it gets legs, and we are rejecting literally the price of 214.81. You'll see for 15, right, 30, 45, an hour, hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, they could not get above it. And then you get fatigue, and the market will push lower. What I would watch for is a potential bounce here at VWAP to actually go higher. But your safer call trade is going to be above 214.81 with a 5-minute candle close. Let's look at Broadcom. Broadcom was bouncing off of the top of the gap fill. I could go ahead and readjust this gap fill now. So this candle low, 321.43. We'll adjust that to 321.43. We'll shrink that gap. We are better off. And then again, watch for a potential reject up here at 355. I mean, we're in between zones, so this one, I don't really see much that I'd be trading there. Oracle got the TikTok deal, so that's what caused its move off of these lows, right? 180 all the way up to 195. Kind of consolidating here. I do like calls on this one, okay? We are right at the price level, 190, 199. So if this opens right around here, and we have market strength going into Monday, definitely calls. Below this, I probably would not take puts per se. What I would do is I would look for calls back off of the top of the box of this gap fill right here. So, I mean, again, you can take puts, but it's not that much of a drop, right? 192 to 188. Contracts are going to be a little expensive. You're better off to play it to the upside, 192 to 198 to 200, going for the gap fill up above. So the bigger the gap, the stronger the magnet. Okay, this is a little baby gap. This is a really big one to the upside. Let's take a look at Palantir. This one again, relative strength like all the others, rejecting off the 786 fib. So what I want to watch for here is, can they hold this price level of 192.82 and go higher for the gap fill to the upside? So this one kind of hit the pivot low on Wednesday, good momentum Thursday, pull back Thursday afternoon, Friday gapped up higher, and it was running to the upside. So watch this one for a gap fill to the top of the gap. And then a couple of the retailers that I looked at last week, let's just look at them again. Lulu had a huge capital infusion, right? The news pushed it all the way up. This would have been a great short. I mean, literally right to my price level. And then what did they do? Sold it down all day long. So watch these exponential moves in the pre-market and then wait for the market to open to see, well, was it just the retail traders who bought these things up at ridiculous levels and the fundamentals didn't change, right? So there was a capital investment of, I don't recall if it was $1 billion or exactly how much it was, by a hedge fund, and they just ran this thing up, right, in the pre-market. And then what happened? Right after the fact, they sold it all the way back off. So this would have been a fabulous put trade. Unfortunately, I did miss that one. Nike had earnings. Earnings were good. They were solid, but what the street did not want to hear was China sales are slowing exponentially. And what does it have to do with? And they specifically cited tariffs. So I do like a push higher on this one to $59 to go short to 56 and then down to 54. This thing is just dead money, right? I mean, for 4 years now, 4 years, Nike has just kept losing money nonstop. I mean, it's just, it's crazy, right? I mean, to think that we were here and, 23 and then 24 is lower and 25 is lower. And right now this thing just isn't stabilizing. And the whole thing is they keep promoting CEOs who have been with the company for decades when they probably need to bring somebody from the outside. Now, could you get a bit of a bounce here? Yeah, you probably could. But I do think you got to get back above this 59 and change in order to go long. So it looks like we had some volume come in here at the close, but nothing really where they, tried to push this thing exponentially higher. The other one that I looked at last week as well, we'll just revisit it, is Starbucks. Starbucks, gap higher here clearly on Wednesday, with everything else, and pushed right up to the price level, rejecting. So now what you can do is an interim price level right about here and see, do they hold this, okay, or does it go lower? And this is just the beauty of interim price levels, right? On Friday, all day long, they did not want it to go below 88.34, okay? But if you drop below 88.34, then what you're going to look for is a push lower. Now, on this one, let me just go ahead and double check because we should have a gap which was created. So let me get the gap in play so you can see this. And this is what we're going to look for. We're going to look for possibly a break below the interim level of 88.34 back to the top of the gap. Okay, and then if we get extreme weakness, back to the downside to actually fill the gap. Okay, one of the other ones that we looked at, we'll just do an update too, Home Depot, just see how this thing played out. Right on the money, right, guys? I mean, right up to the price level, okay? Failed it, and then lower we went. So this was a week ago Thursday, okay? This was Monday on the open, so this would have been the price level that we would have watched in last week's market analysis, and they did not hold it, right? And where did it do? Drifted lower, right? The market got a push up on Thursday with everything else, and now what are we doing? Selling into this. So I like puts below 345.11, right? There is no follow through on some of these stocks. Lululemon, no follow through. Starbucks, no follow through. Home Depot, no follow through. Nike, no follow through. The only follow through you are seeing anywhere is in tech. Okay, and if tech rolls over, then these are going to go with it quite quickly. So also keep an eye on Bitcoin. Let me just flip a tab. Right now we're at 88 and change. See if that goes lower. This has been a good proxy for you to use, as well as then MicroStrategy and Hood. So I'm watching both of these. Hood got a bit of a bump up on Friday as being part of the predictions market. Thursday and Friday, break below 120, go short. Stay below 166 and strategy, go short. Bitcoin below 87, it's going to be risk off. And then you will see, SPY and QQQ start to consolidate and follow through. So that's what I would be watching for this week. And for those of you that are celebrating Christmas, I wish each and every one of you a very, very Merry Christmas. And those of you celebrating Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah, my friends. And with that, I will see you all tomorrow morning for live trading at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Take care.